All right, all right, all right. Man, this week, I'm telling you, this topic could not be more relevant to myself and to everybody I'm talking to. I'm telling you, we are feeling overwhelmed. And because of that, I said I had to come this week and we had to have this conversation. So, today, on the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show, we are going to be digging into overwhelm to thriving. How do you go from overwhelm to thriving? I'm going to answer that question right after this. Y'all, we are overwhelmed. Now, let me just say this. You may not be in this category, but lately so many people that I've been talking to, from friends and from clients, are feeling the stress of overwhelm. And what's interesting is that everybody has their own way of coping with it, and some are just simply not coping with it at all and just remaining stressed out and overwhelmed. But I refused. I refuse to be and to stay overwhelmed. Now, here's the issue that I find in my own life about feeling overwhelmed. When you are a high achievers, and so I'm talking to all of you high achievers out there, you know who you are. We are those people who have a lot of stuff on our plate. We have a lot of responsibility. We have a lot of things going on. And we want to do all those things at the highest level, right? Like there's a lot of times no options for high achievers to do things at low levels. And so when we actually do things, we're giving our all to those things. And that in itself can be very, very stressful. Not to mention the fact that you really want to get everything done. You desire, that's your deepest desire, is to get all the things done and to give all the things the actual time, energy that they need. But it's not always possible to get all those things done. But because you're a high achiever, you don't know how to rationalize ambition and self-care at the same time. Listen, I'm already talking about it. I'm already talking about it. When you are a high achiever, it is very high to rationalize being ambitious and going for your goals, being successful, getting stuff done, but also placing a high value on wellness. Now, that might not be for the whole world, but that's how it sits in my life, and that's how it sits in a lot of my clients' lives. And when that happens, when we find it difficult to rationalize and find harmony between the two of those things, we tend to be very, very overwhelmed because we don't necessarily want to set priorities, because to us, everything is a priority. I think I told my husband that the other morning. He was like, choose between which one of these things that needs to get done first. And I'm like, there's no choice. They both need to get done. He's like, you and I both know that it's not possible to get them both done. So you have to make yourself choose. And I knew that there was a higher priority, but my spirit of spirits wouldn't let me say it. And because I really wanted, and in my mind, needed to get those things done at the time that they needed to be done. And after I thought about it for a little bit, there was one that was higher on the priority list to get done, and I was able to verbalize it. And when I was able to verbalize it, I was able to commit to it a lot faster and a lot more. So I think that, as high achievers, as leaders, as professionals, as parents, as like all the hats that we wear, I think it is very, very important for us to understand that we may not always be able to get everything done. And that can be a huge source of our overwhelm. I know that it is for me. Sean, thank you so much for calling. And yes, Dr. Jamil is too logical. He always is like that. So, He keeps me on my toes and in check. So, but when we think about being overwhelmed, and like I said, it's many of us who are sitting in this space. There are a lot of ways that this can manifest in our life, and I really want to go over some of those things because when you look at the list, you're like, dang, I mean, wow, these are all these things that are happening in my life in this moment. And they could be really hindering me from the success that I want. Because I mean, think about the dichotomy between that. We want to get all these things done. Some of us feel like we need to get all these things done, but the very fact that we put that pressure and that stress on us to get those things done may be hindering us in ways that are going to derail us from being successful. It don't make no sense. Like it absolutely makes no sense. And so one way it can manifest in physical symptoms, right? We all know that stress and overwhelm manifests in physical symptoms like fatigue. Let me just tell you about fatigue. I have been tired. And I will say this, right? The way that my schedule is set up in life is I will go through very busy periods in life. And so at the end of every quarter, because at Life University, we are on the quarter schedule. At the end of every quarter, I have a whole bunch of grading to do, a whole bunch of emails to answer and all of that. And right now, I'm in that period where I'm trying to get everybody's grades done because people are graduating and people need to move on to the next class and all that kind of stuff. And so that is very, very heavy for me. And then when I'm with clients, if I have a major project, which we have major projects in several organizations where we're doing their DEI strategic plan, we're doing team coaching, group coaching, training, we're doing all these things. And so when you start a project, getting a company onboarded to the project is very stressful and can cause you to have a long list of things to do. So I'm in that place in several areas of my life. So this is really a busy time, a busy season for me. But when I get like that, things go haywire. And so I've been extremely fatigued. And in order to get things done, I sometimes will go into what I call beast mode. Some of y'all might understand that, some of you might not. What I mean by that is that I do what it takes to get things done because I know that it's going to last for a short period of time, but that does not make me any less tired, right? Like beast mode is just what it is. Beast mode. It does not make me any less tired. As a matter of fact, I am exhausted. And so all this week I've been getting up at 4 a.m. Yep, you heard it. So not I ain't even part of the 5 a.m. club this week. I'm part of the 4 a.m. club this week because I need to get stuff done. And sometimes I can't get to bed earlier than 10 or 11 o'clock because I'm still trying to get stuff done. And I also got a husband and I also got kids. You know, I'm not making an excuse for it. I'm just telling you how it is. And I think a lot of times when we hear experts talk about, from overwhelmed to thriving, let me tell you how my life is so perfect. Stop playing. Stop. Stop playing because none of our lives are perfect. We still struggle in some of the areas that we talk about, but it's that struggle and our efforts to find what works best and share them with you is what makes the difference. And so that's what I'm doing today. I'm not coming to you as a whole expert in this. And sometimes I don't have this problem at all, but I do at very, difficult times of the year. And so physical symptoms can show up at fatigue, headaches. You can get digestive issues, right? Sleep disturbances. Hello. Increased heart rate, a weaker immune system. All those things can happen in the physical form when you are overwhelmed. In the emotional form, okay, you can start getting anxiety, irritability. Listen, I be getting upset when I can't get stuff done, when I'm overwhelmed. I just can't wrap my head around it. I be getting irritable. Don't mess with me. Leave me alone till I can till I can figure this thing out. Mood swings. Hello, somebody. Oh Lord, I'm depressed one day and I'm okay the next. Like ridiculousness, right? Difficulty concentrating. You know you got stuff to do, but yet you can't sit still to do it. What in the world is happening? Right? You are too overwhelmed to even concentrate on the things that you know you got to do. That's ridiculous. But yet and still, I understand it because I done been through it, right? I mean, do you think I like getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do work or to grade papers or what? Zero. No, I do not. Like zero parts of the time do I like to get up at 4 in the morning to get stuff done. But I have to. It also emotional behaviors show up as procrastination. I was just talking to some clients the other day, and they were talking about how they wanted to stop procrastinating. We procrastinate the things that we fear are going to cause us pain, right? So when it comes to doing work or getting a project done, you procrastinate because you fear that the work is going to be more difficult than not doing the work. Ooh, I said it. I said it. Let me say it again so that you get it. You fear that the work itself is going to be more painful and cause you more pain than what it would cause you if you didn't do it. So you procrastinate. But here's the thing, you still got to do it. So what you doing is causing worry on top of worry on top of worry because you still got to get it done. I understand it. I know all about it. And then you can have cognitive issues, right? Racing thoughts, mind fog. You'd be like, what was I supposed to be doing? Oh my goodness. And overanalyzing and perfectionism, right? We tend to overanalyze a thing when we're feeling overwhelmed because we don't really have the ability to make the decisions that we need to make in the moment because we ain't as sharp as we used to be, right? And I have experienced all of those things. And it's quite interesting when you start to feel those things because you start to panic and you're like, I got to get control. I got to figure out how to get this under control so that I can move forward. There is a couple statistics that I want to share with you. 55% of Americans are stressed out during the day. More than half of us are stressed out during our days. That's a lot of people, right? And so it caused me to think, okay, 55% is stressed out. That means 45% ain't. I'm trying to figure out what the 45 doing so that we because right? Because they are not as stressed out as us. And then mainly the issues that people are really stressed out about. Number one, you guessed it, personal finances. It's a thing, right? It is a thing. You need money to live, period. Right? I mean, we all need money to live. There's all these things about money can't make you happy. Yes, it can, because it can change your life. It can make things happier for you. Now, do I think, more money, more problems? Probably, right? There can be things that can come with money, but I'd rather have it than not at the end of the day, right? I'd rather have it than not. If you're here joining me live on the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show, you can go ahead and throw your name in the chat. I love to give you a shout out. Uncertainty, right? I wrote about that in my book, Get Courageous Now. Uncertainty is one of the biggest things. That's one of the biggest fears, the fear of the unknown, right? A lot of times when we don't feel like we know or we're uncertain about our future, we tend to feel super overwhelmed. I know this has shown up in my life when I've ever, questioned my purpose in life, or when I've ever questioned the direction that I'm supposed to go. It really stresses me out. Another one is physical health. There are a lot of us walking around who are unhealthy with our physical being and our, health. Like, so, but we have every capability of changing those things, but it still does stress us out. Now, of course, there are some things that you might not can change, right? And we all have known people and gone through things that is not changeable, right? Some of us have health problems that are detrimental to our health, right? But we're still living, and those things can stress us out. And then you got mental health issues, relationship issues, and job security. That job security, I've definitely, as an executive coach, seen that one pop up so many times, especially recently. It's been a very interesting very interesting world when it comes to just jobs, right? Finding jobs, having jobs, keeping jobs, getting paid what you are worth, all of those things. I think that that is very, very important. It's always been important, but I hear it a lot these days, especially in a lot of coaching sessions that I do. And so these are the things that are causing the most overwhelm at the moment. And I know that I can see myself in some of these, but I think for me, it's more so having a lot to do on my list and feeling like I need to get it all done. So the question is, where do you fall? Where do you fall at in all of these stressors? And so we can actually begin to tackle them. So I put together, as I was thinking about today's episode, I kind of, went through some of the things that I was thinking about and how I handle stress and how I've recently began to handle the overwhelm in my life. And this is definitely outside of the periods when I'm like super busy, like right now, but I'm still trying to do some of these things to combat the overwhelm so that I don't feel as crazy. And so I want to share with you some of the things that I do. And I think that these may be helpful for you in this time right now as well. And the first one is to prioritize and organize, right? Y'all know I was going to say that. Here's the thing. I am a big list person. I love my list. I got my remarkable right here. I got a calendar on here with a list, a to-do list, and I absolutely love it. But what I notice is when I get off schedule of actually completing or doing my list, that's when things go haywire for me. I need a list to keep me on task. Now, but here's another thing about a list though. Sometimes we tend to put too much on the list and we underestimate the time that it's going to take for us to get certain things done. And I still do that. And I know better, but I was talking to my husband, Dr. Jamil, who's the logical one, is the strategic one. And he was like, you underestimate certain things on your list because in your mind, you want them to take that amount of time. I was like, leave me alone. Just leave me alone, please. But I mean, it's true, right? So I put a project on my list, this week and last week that I estimated that was going to take me about 2 hours to complete from start to finish. That one thing took me 7 hours to complete. Do you understand me? And that was with help. I grossly underestimated. Oh my God. I grossly underestimated the time that I thought that was going to take me to do and proposals and stuff like that. It was crazy, right? It just didn't make no sense. And so that one thing put me behind on some of the other things that I had scheduled on my list of things to do, which were all priorities. They were ranked in the order that they needed to get done, but I couldn't get the other things done unless I finished this one. So it put me behind, and that even caused a lot more overwhelm. Hence the getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get stuff done. So I will say that the prioritization and organizing and scheduling and putting stuff on your to-do list, it still works for me. It's still very good. It works for me. And you just have to be mindful. It could probably work for you too, but be mindful not to put too many big projects on your list every day. I say no more than three, trying to get three things done. And if it's a big project, one, like for real, and then figure out another time to do the rest. And I know that might be hard for you because at times it's very hard for me as well. But who are we kidding? We just can't always get it all done. And that is a fact. So I think that going ahead to prioritize and organize and schedule out your day. I have the Remarkable, and there's this amazing calendar on the Remarkable, and it has a to-do list, it has a calendar, it has all those things. And so I literally sit down the night before and I will plan out my day for the next day. When I do that, I am successful. And when I am um, rational about the amount of things that are on the list, I am also very successful. So try it for yourself. It absolutely works for me. Um, Practice self care. Y'all know I talk about this so much, but here's the thing, it's the truth. And I think this is the one thing that grounds me when I am as a high achiever, right? Like as a leader, high achiever, understanding that I need, right? It is a need of mine to practice self-care. This grounds me. And so actually this year, so last week or last Friday was my very first time taking a mental health day. Oh my God, I planned it out and everything. And I called it a mental health self-care day, all of that. But it was my very first time doing that. Even when I was working, I don't like act when I say working, because child, Lord knows I work all the time. Even when I was in a corporate job, I never took a mental health day that I can remember. Not, not actually planning it out, right? I might have had to been forced to take a mental health day because I got sick or something. But I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about being proactively, being proactive about taking a mental health day. And so last week was my very first one. And I guess what I did? I ended up sleeping in for a couple hours, which was glorious. And when I say sleeping in, that means I still got up to get my kids ready for school. And then I went back to bed. And it was awesome. And then I woke up and I went to the spa. Oh my gosh, it was so great. I got a scrub, I got a massage. I sat in the bath and the steam room. I got something to eat. I took a nap at the spa. I mean, when I tell you it was glorious, it was absolutely glorious. I sat down, I had planned on leaving the spa and coming back home around 3 o'clock so that I could have a little time before I went to pick the kids up from school. And so I sat down, I laid down at 2:30. I was gonna give myself 30 minutes. I woke up at 3:45. I mean, it's what my body needed, right? It's what my body needed. And so I was able to still get home and then to go get the kids. But it was just so amazing to just have the day off, to not do work, right? Because I will plan my week out so that Fridays are days that I can get work done. But this was different than that. This wasn't a day for me to get work done. This was a day for me to do no work. And I didn't look at my computer. I didn't talk to my assistant. I talked to nobody. It was awesome. And so I believe in it, right? And your mental health day or your day off or whatever doesn't have to look like mine, because I think mine's is going to look differently every single month. By the way, I've decided to do it once a month because I need it. But your self-care doesn't have to look like that. It can look like whatever you want it to look like, but you need to practice it, because if you don't, you will consistently feel overwhelmed. And so for me, I am going to practice it in a way of taking a day off, giving my brain some time to rest, because it absolutely needs that time to rest. Another one is set boundaries. I mean, we got to learn how to say no. I need to learn how to say no. So here's the thing about leaders, high achievers, people who just really love to get stuff done. it can be hard to say no sometimes because you really, really do want to get things done. You really do want to say yes because you have a genuine interest in doing that thing. But the thing about it is, you can't afford to say yes all the time. And that is one thing that I continuously work on myself with, is saying no. And what's so funny about it is, even some of the things that you need to say no to can be great for you, right? Like they can be opportunities that are awesome for you if you were to commit to those things, but they are also opportunities to overwhelm you. And that is the thing that I've had to reckon with the most when it comes to saying no, is because there are some opportunities and some things that come my way that I know are only going to serve to overwhelm me more, but they could serve to help me become more successful in an area that I identified that I want to become successful in. So it can be hard, but it is definitely necessary to sit down and to think about how this thing will enhance or distract or take from your life in such a way that you can't handle. And I have to sit down and create those boundaries for myself. Some of us need to create boundaries for other people in our lives, like family and stuff like that. But for me, my boundary comes with me saying no to the things that are going to push me in a direction ultimately that I might not want to go, because short-term gain doesn't can equal long-term loss. Ooh, that was good, girl. That's a Kikiism. Short-term gain can equal long-term loss in your life, because we're so used to that instant gratification. I mean, we all want to feel good in the moment and we all want to have this success, but it might hurt us in the long run, right? So, learn how to say no, set some boundaries. Also, please seek out support. Seek out support. I know a lot of us don't like to ask for help. I'm over that. Like, I am over that. I'm trying to find how to get the most stuff off of my schedule, because if it's on my schedule, that means I got to do it. But there's other people who can probably do it. So I'm trying to get very, very good at delegation, because for me, that's that moves the needle for me. Is the delegation part. So you have to ask for help. Find people to ask for help. I'll ask my husband for help. I'll ask my assistant for help. I'll ask my family and friends, hey, can you help me do this thing? I don't have any problem with it anymore. In the past, I used to have a problem with it but it was an ego thing, right? Like, I got to do all these things. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, you don't. Let somebody else help you do those things. Or otherwise, you're going to feel stressed out and overwhelmed. And then lastly, I want to say, practice some kind of mindfulness techniques, right? One of the best mindfulness technique that I love is prayer, right? I get up in the morning and I do my, praying and reading my Bible and all that kind of stuff. It really works for me because it really helps me calm my nerves, set intentions for the day. It is amazing. Like, I mean, without prayer, I don't know where I'd be. And but some people do meditate. Um, and I think that's great as well. Some people sit in silence. I think that's silence and being with your own thoughts, baby. It would do wonders. It will absolutely do wonders for your world, but most of us don't do it. Most of us are moving in emotion from the time our feet hits the floor to the time we lay our head down on a pillow, and we never have a moment to just breathe. We never have a moment to breathe. And I think is that's that's tough, right? That's tough. Another form of self-care I meant to mention is working out. I know a lot of people be like, I hate to work out, I hate to work out. But for me, working out gives me that sense of satisfaction, and it does relieve stress. It relieves stress. And so these are some of the things that I do and have done recently, especially during these times where I just have a lot of things going on in my life. I've been able to implement some of these, and it has helped me go from overwhelming to thriving. Because what's the definition of thriving? The definition of thriving is to flourish, right? It is to really be prosperous and to develop well. Right. And so I love thriving, and I talk all about thriving. And I just even did a course on thriving because I want to flourish. And I think that we all want to flourish. I think that we all want to prosper in this life. And prosper don't just mean by money, right? It means by health and, wealth. Like, we all want to prosper. We all want to flourish. And so in order to do that, you got to learn how to practice the things that I just talked about so that you can go from overwhelm to thriving as well. Because we all want to be a part of the Thrive Tribe, right? So we all want to be a part of the Thrive Tribe. And so I want to thank you all for being with me today. If this message resonated with you, go ahead and click and share this with somebody, right? Somebody in your life needed besides you, because if you listening to it, then you needed to hear it. But I can guarantee there's somebody else in your life that also needs to hear this. So share this with somebody. The Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show is on all podcast channels. So anywhere you listen to your podcast, you can get Dr. Kiki Ramsey. And if you're live, and you join me live on Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show, you can find us on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook as well. And if you want to join the Thrive Tribe, and really be with a group of women who are really prospering and learning how to be happy at the same time, join us at happywomanlead.com. We are a community of professional women who are thriving through life. All right, y'all. Until next time, see you later. Peace.